What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here, and we are in Warframe. We are running the Amphis, and we are going to do an Amphis slash bow build. This mission is a tier 3 survival, just so you know. I have a vault with me, and I am running my carrier, but the carrier is a passive. There is no weapon active on it at this time, so it is just me and my bow, my Amphis in this case. So they're pretty similar weapons, okay? The bow being the original weapon, the Amphis being an upgrade to the bow. Some stuff to talk about. Both weapons are impact heavy weapons, high impact heavy. Both weapons can hit multiple targets. Both weapons have stun effect. The difference is the bow has a stun effect based off of the jump attack. The Amphis has an innate stun effect on it, so it automatically stuns as you hit. And that also has, the Amphis also has an AoE electric jump attack as well, which has relatively high damage on it, as you'll see throughout the video. Okay, so those are the big differences here. Both very fun. My builds for both of them currently consist of using the Clashing Forest stance, which I'm going to throw right there on the screen for you. Pretty simple to work with. You'll see it's got a few different things in here, and it's fun. You'll see it throughout this whole video, obviously. The other one, which is specific for the bow, is the Flailing Branch stance, which I have yet to get. I've been trying and trying, but you've got to pick it up in the Void against the Corrupted Heavy Gunners. So it's a rare mod. Getting it in there or trading in the marketplace. I'm not willing to trade for it in the marketplace right now. I really want to keep just grinding and trying to find it. But Flailing Branch is that mod. But you can keep Clashing Forest on it as well. That'll work just fine on the bow. So let's just talk a little bit more here. Compare the two of them together. So you can see the original stats on the screen. You'll see the bow has a slightly higher impact over the Amphis, but the Amphis has a higher puncture and has slash damage, which the bow does not have. Amphis has a higher spin attack, higher leap attack, higher wall attack as a base. Not a lot, but just enough. Has a higher attack speed as well. Whereas the bow has the better critical and status chances. So something you might consider when you're doing a build is adding some extra critical or some status chance mods in there to help out the bow stat more, proc damage more if you want. But like I said, I've built them both the same way, and they're pretty effective throughout this as we go through the build. Okay, so the bow, you can pick it up in the market. Just quickly go over it. It costs you 15,000 credits for the blueprint. To build requirements, 15,000 credits. 1 ore can sell, 900 salvage, 600 ferret, 150 alloy plate. And the Amphis in this case, which is the upgrade, as I've said, will cost you 15,000 for the blueprint in the marketplace. The credits of 30,000, 2 new roads, 500 salvage, 600 circuits, and 600 alloy plate to actually build the weapon. I believe it's 12 hours. I don't remember. It's been a while since I built it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of talk about this here. So where I've come up with on my build, I've ended up with a 234 impact, 26.4 puncture, 26.4 slash, 264 corrosive, that's the elemental I went with, 1180 spin, 1101 leap, 920 wall. Brought down the attack speed to 1. Critical and status are going to stay the same. My stamina is going to be at 11.25. Okay, which is up from 10%, so it's slightly higher on the gosh, I'm sorry. The stamina is up from 7.5% to 11.25%. Let me get that straight in my head. So let's talk about this, and I'm going to try to cover everything that I can in this video as if you did not know anything about Melee 2.0 as well, so you can just try to understand everything as I go through them. This is what I'm trying to do in all the videos. So again, we're using Clashing Forest as the stance mod for this build. I'm going to start with Heavy Trauma, which is going to go right into the polarity slot that is on this weapon, the dash polarity. It's going to give me a 90% impact damage increase, okay, off the base damage. Then next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a pressure point mod in there, adding another 120% melee damage on the base damage as well. And right next to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a spooled strike for another plus 100% damage. Even though this gives me a negative attack speed, I got another 100% damage. So I am essentially just over 300% damage on this weapon for base damage increase, which is why I'm at 234 on the impact. And the puncture and slash go up, even though they're not very significant. They're there, so just keep that in mind. But the big one here, of course, is impact. Okay, so now we know that with this new melee system, all the extra features come based off of your base damage. So comboing damage gets increased based off base damage. Channeling is done off of base damage. So those are the reasons why I keep trying to put the highest base damage I can on a weapon, on a melee weapon. Okay, so but in this case, that's where we're at, a little over 300%. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Berserker mod. So this is going to give me my plus 30% attack speed that I would get if I was using a Fury mod. But this knocks it in for 24 seconds based off a critical hit, and I do get a lot of critical hits, so this just keeps me going and going. And I've found that the Berserker mod is just more fun than the Fury mod to have on there, so I just like it. It's just my personal taste. I did notice a difference between the two, and it's kind of hard to explain what the difference is. You just have to try it and you'd see the difference. Berserker just is much more fun in there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a reach mod. The reach giving me the extra range on the weapon. We know it's a multi-hit weapon. We know it's a, you know, it's a large weapon, so it's able to hit extended range. So the more range you give it, the better it's going to hit those harder enemies before they even get to you. Excuse me. On a side note, many people will probably say something here that the Reach mod is broken, that it's been broken since it ever came out. Guys, the Reach mod is not broken. If you play your weapon without Reach, and then you play it with Reach, you will see there is a difference. It may not be a significant difference, but there is a difference. I don't know how you do the calculations. I really don't care how you do the calculations. I'm going based off of how I feel it, how I see it, and how I play it. So just keep that in mind. It's there, it works, it always has worked, but maybe not based off of somebody's weird calculations and math, okay? So for me, I'm using the range mod, and I'm going to keep the range mod there. It has come in very handy in many runs that I've done. I've run this in the Voids, I've run this in all the dark sectors, I've run this in conflict and not in conflict, defenses, survivals, everything, and I've had success with it 100% of the time. Okay, so then what we're going to do, we're going to add in channeling damage. So the killing blow, 120% additional channeling damage. And what we know about in Melee 2.0 is channeling basically takes away from your Warframe energy. Takes 5 points every time you use it and get a hit with channeling on. But what it does is it increases your base damage by an extra 50%. So you didn't take your 300%. You're going to add another 50% to that, so it's like 450% damage increase, basically, every time you do a critical hit, or a channeling hit with your energy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also include in my elemental, but I'm going to actually use a focused energy in this case, so I'm going to add a plus 40% channeling efficiency, and then plus 60% electrical damage. Now that channeling efficiency is going to take from the 5 points of energy that it takes every time you do a energy channel hit. It's going to actually take about 3 points, I think, instead of 5 points, give or take 3.5 points, something like that. So you're going to get a little extra space in there to work in some extra hits if you need it. So that's why we're using focused energy in this case. And then, of course, Fever Strike is going to be my plus 90% extra poison damage. Okay, and then this is going to add my Corrosive. Corrosive is really good to use, especially in the Void. It can be used on any map, which I have been using it. It's pretty good against all the factions. There is some negative effect in there. Of course, everything has a negative effect. Nothing is perfect. And there is positive effects on it as well. But overall, with the Amphis, it works really well with the Amphis, and I'm happy with it that way, so I'm going to keep it that way. So that's just the way that cookie crumbles, so to speak. Now, a couple of the things you can try to remember when you're doing this is you've got your blocking or your parrying, which right-clicking on the mouse will allow you to parry. If you do block, it's going to take away your stamina, so just keep that in mind. Every successful block that you make loses stamina from your Warframe. So those are things that you can consider. There are many different stamina increasing mods that you can have, both on your Warframe and or on the weapon. I have not really felt too much of a need to have them on there. I've played around with them before. It does work successful on a couple of weapons, but I'm fine the way it is because I don't do a lot of blocking. And that's just because I'm mostly using the reflection mod inside of my Warframes now, which allows me to channel back some of that damage. But, so parrying is there if you want to use it. And then finally we're going to talk about the combo counter, which on here I've successfully gotten this combo counter up, not in this mission, but I think the highest I've counted for myself so far is 51 successful combo hits, and that was with a few guys with me. Now, soloing, I could probably, if I get in there deep enough, I could probably get even higher than that. Combo counters on the right-hand bottom of the screen, that'll come up every so often. After you've hit at least 5 in a row, then it'll start counting. What this does is this, again, is based off your base damage. Okay, it's going to take your base damage and it's going to multiply your base damage times whatever amount of hits that you have. So, between 5 and 15, you're going to have a 1.5 time multiplier. From 16 to 45, you're going to have a 2 times multiplier. At 45, you're going to get a 2.5 time multiplier up to 135. At 135, you get 3 time multiplier, so forth and so on. As far as things are concerned, there is no ending to how high it can go. I just don't really know that anyone can get up past a 3, maybe a 3.5. But theoretically, you can just get up there all the way. So that's where the combo counter is. It's not based off anything else other than the amount of hits that you make in here. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's a channeling hit or a regular hit. It's a hit, and the hit is counted in the combo counter. So hopefully that explains that to you as well. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and throw up on the screen for everybody as we're nearing the end of this run. I'm going to go ahead and throw up on the screen the melee combo, or my whole setup here, because everybody does like to see the whole setup there at the end. So hopefully you can review this a little bit easier in case you've missed anything. We're going to start with Clashing Force as the stance. Again, Heavy Trauma, Pressure Point, Spoiled Strike are my damaging mods. You've got Berserker, which increases the attack speed again based off critical hits. You've got Reach for range, Killing Blow for channeling damage. Focus Energy is part of the elemental as well as channeling efficiency. And then Fever Strike as the other part of my elemental, making the corrosive attack on there. So that's the build. Let me know in comments below what you think. If you've got anything that's different, any thoughts, feel free to leave them below. If you've got a different build, leave it below anytime. Glad to have it there. We'll take a look at it. If other people like your build better than my setup, or they want to mix in between, let them mix in between. No one person's build is perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's based off of how people play. I enjoy it this way. I know a lot of you guys like my builds, and I appreciate that. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, and we will roll out here till the next time. And I will catch you guys soon. So please do like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.
Another job well.